Hi, welcome back to my garden. I was out with the dogs this morning and things were looking just particularly pretty, so I thought I'd just take the camera and walk around and show you what's looking good in mid-October. I'm starting in the front garden where I think the fall colors are the best right now. I'm in the shadow and white garden and there's a few things still blooming here. This is some of the tobacco. I think it was Nicotiana Starlight Dancer or something that I started from seed this spring. I feel like as the blooms start to fade, the foliage becomes more and more important. So I've been like playing around with that. I had divided some of these kind of blue spiky grasses that I had somewhere else in the garden, and I put a couple clumps over here. That Dusty Miller in the foreground I also grew from seed this year, and it's a little bit marginal in our area, but I'm hoping that it comes back. The Cosmos are looking great. These are the cupcake white variety, and you can see they look kind of like the like cupcake liners. I'm guessing that's where the name comes from, but and this was one of the like last ones to start to bloom. It's like just getting going now, so hopefully there'll be enough time before the frost. Some of the plants that stayed smaller started blooming earlier, and they're almost bloomed out. And at this point, I'm not really deadheading anymore because I feel like the first frost is like less than a month away, I'm sure, and I want to try and collect some seed. This hydrangea, like it started blooming, it took over from the allium, so it was like June, and then it's just like looked great all season. I love these lemon cypress trees. When you rub the foliage, it kind of gives you like a lemon scent. And I just like love the color. Like this time of year, they're very limey. In winter, they go kind of gold. And then this side here, I haven't really done a tour of or anything. It's a newer space that I'm working on. Obviously, there's some like more established trees and stuff here too. But I've been trying to make kind of like a wildlife friendly area. So I've planted a bunch of native plants and then just other kind of popular ones with the pollinators. And then I've tried to use a lot of like rock piles, wood piles, things like that. Color-wise, it's kind of like reds and pale blues or pale purples. And then just like interesting foliage and leaves and stuff. The Japanese maples are just starting to turn too. And like this one's amazing. It's kind of, it's green all season. And then it just goes this like rainbow. There's like kind of purples, yellows, oranges, reds, and then still some like greens. So I've made this kind of like spine for this garden. It's all stepping stones, and these are all like maybe not 2 feet, maybe like 18 inches. So they're buried quite deep. But I used cypress, which lasts pretty well in the ground. And I thought as they degrade, they'll just give like food for all the critters. There's this little stone wall here, and there's definitely some snakes that live in it because I sometimes see them sunbathing in the morning. So that's cool. They're little garter snakes. I'll show you this from the other side, but there's like a whole stack of logs, which I'm hoping the insects and stuff will use, especially during winter. And then a slightly different view. I also have a lot of lavender here. A bit of a helenium hedge. It's gone over now, but I do like what the little like, I don't know, the little like ball-y things at the top look like. A bunch of echinacea. I started this from seed last year and it bloomed for the first time this year. So that was a little bit of a slow one to get started. This big blue spruce is such a nice backdrop for all the reds. This is a little bench I made with some offcuts from some other projects. The dogs and I were sitting on it this morning, hence the prints. And then this little pond, I'm always so torn for the duckweed because it looks like the tadpoles use it. And I'm sure some insects do too. So I'm never sure like the best time of year to like remove it because it'll definitely come back and I know it's like valuable for them. But I think I might clear some of it away this time of year, kind of like nowish. I want to show you this succulent fountain. So I put this together, I want to say in like June. It was all from cuttings that I overwintered indoors. And they were like, some of the things didn't grow like amazingly, but this aeonium here, it was like, I don't know, maybe that big. It's gotten huge. That's, I don't know, at least 10 inches across. The aloe vera's done well, the donkey tails. I think they liked the humidity from the water maybe. Like it got it from, like it didn't get like too hot for them maybe, I'm not sure. But I think they seem pretty happy. The aeoniums are not, like they don't even like a light frost. So I'm gonna take this apart fairly soon and then I'll just overwinter all the cuttings and then do something else next year. So going back towards the house, and I've been working on this area here, just kind of refinishing it a little bit. I recently did a video about the humpback crevice garden, which you can see the humpback whale over there. And then I wanted this area to kind of tie into that without being too succulent heavy. I've been spotted. But yeah, I'm liking how it's looking. And then behind me, I'll pan slowly. This is like, I don't know, it was like an arrangement of pots and I really liked it all season. And some of the things are still blooming really nicely, but it's now basically like a nasturtium patch. Like, I can't believe, like that's like almost as thick as my finger. There's a bunch of calla lilies in here that have been blooming all season. A few more cuttings and stuff. The Japanese maple, changing color. So I'm gonna take most of this apart again. And I might plant the maple in the landscape or I might leave it in the pot for one more season because I kind of like how it looks. And then in Moosey's garden, so this is mostly kind of like hot tones and stuff. There's not too much color left right now, but I've kind of just been making note of like what did well this year and what I want to repeat for next year. There's still some zinnias blooming. They struggled a little bit this year. I think I didn't water them enough in the beginning, and then June ended up being kind of cool, which was when I planted them out. But I've also been working on some of the kind of structure plants. Like I love this Japanese maple. It's a Twombly's Red Sentinel, I think. The little ginkgo is starting to turn to. The hostas are all going. So this is all like relatively new, like less than a year old, I guess. Some of it I started before then, but all the edging and stuff I've done more recently. I'm really excited about these plants here. This is California wax myrtle, and it's one of our native evergreens. I guess it's like a broadleaf evergreen. And it grows really quickly, so you can kind of like train it like you would like box. So I'm kind of excited to see how that goes and what cool shapes I want to try to make with it. This little mugo pine is starting to get its winter gold color. It looks like highlights. And then from this angle, most of the black-eyed Susans have bloomed out. These are ones I grew from seed last year, and they bloomed profusely this year. Some of the sunflowers are still looking cute. Those are hibiscus plants, Mahogany Splendor, I want to say. And they're so cute. I grew those from seed this year, and it's like a little like Japanese maple. So that's awesome. I'm definitely going to grow more of those next year. So I'm heading down kind of towards the backyard and the vegetable garden. So I'm experimenting with this plastic tarp material. Before I completely cut it to size and fix it in, I want to see if I kind of like what it does. So we have our tomatoes in here still, and I want to see if it will buy us like a little more time. I've also planted some arugula, and I have space for a few more things that I want to add. And basically I want to experiment and just see like how much better that does than the ones that are out. The bed right behind it, I have like arugula that's like left out, and most of the other tomatoes I've taken down just because it's been kind of wet. Little herb garden is looking cute. I want to come and collect a bunch of seed. Some of the calendula I know is like ready to collect, but how pretty is that? Yeah, this is what the seed looks like. I don't want to play with it too much because it will all come apart. But it's like these little curly guys. And some of the rosemary's blooming too. It's so pretty. So I have spinach in here, which I've already been harvesting. And there's a bunch of leeks, which are still looking pretty small. I think I read you want to wait till they're like an inch in diameter before you harvest them. But they've just been like chugging along, so hopefully they keep doing that. Yeah, so this is the other side. And I'm also tempted to cover the back of this. I don't know if you can see, there's some, these are Alaska peas, and they're just starting to bloom. So this is actually the second generation in one season. So like I grew a bunch earlier this season, we ate a ton of them, and then I let some of the pods dry, and then I planted some of those in here, and then this is the growth. So this is maybe a couple months. I'm not sure exactly, maybe a month and a half. But our Anna's hummingbirds are active all winter. So as long as these don't get a hard frost, we do have pollinators for them. So I think I might cover this one as well, just so that I can keep the beans going. And then there's a few different kinds of greens. So I have some oak leaf lettuce up here. There's some red kale. Still some basil. It's looking a little sad, but I've been using some of the best leaves. This is Mitsuna. It's a mustard green, but it's so tender and delicious. It's awesome in salad. Behind it, I have a row of broccoli, then the Alaska peas, and then arugula here in the foreground. I made a little bench here. It's not like fixed in yet, but behind me there's 2 chairs, and I was having to compete with Cosmo for one of them because he was always like wanting to jump in. And then down here, you can see the sweet autumn clematis in the background. It's kind of like scrambling over some grasses. So pretty. So this first bed is mostly done. We've harvested most of the broccoli, and there's still some more coming, so I've like left the plants, but I mostly, like, it doesn't make it inside. I mostly just like nibble it around here. A bunch of nasturtiums that have self-seeded. And then these are all carrots. So let's see, maybe I'll pull one up. Oh, wow. Okay. It has a little like extra leg. Well, this has been, I think, the first successful batch of carrots that we've had. I've tried them in the past and like, I don't know, they ended up staying really small, but that's like pretty huge. Yeah, so Lewis will sit in one of these and then Cosmo always gets the other one. So I made myself a little bench. And part of the plan for the carrots was like, I'd also planted cabbage because I like coleslaw, but then the cabbage didn't really work. So anyway, I'll figure something else for the carrots. The sunflowers are almost done in here, but I added some spinach and then I planted a bunch of garlic kind of along the edge here. And then I have two different kinds of pumpkin. I got one of each. So this is small sugar, apparently good for like baking. And this was like musc de Provence. I'm kind of just like leaving them until I have to bring them in. I've checked them and they still look pretty good. But yeah, I wanted to give them as much time as possible to ripen. And then there's a few cucumbers, kind of like badly formed ones. It's kind of near the end. But I have a few in the fridge too. We've been pulling them off all season. And then these are the purple runner beans, which I really, really like. When they're small like this, I just eat them raw. And when they're a little bigger, they're better cooked. But they do lose their color. So when they're small, if you pick them, like you can use them in salad and stuff. And this one too, like as long as there's not a hard frost, I think it'll keep going. And like I said, like the hummingbirds are around, so as long as they're here to pollinate them, we should keep getting fruit. Some zucchinis. And then yeah, some more salads and stuff. I planted a bunch of white eggplants, but I didn't get a single fruit off of them this year. I don't know if I was too late or what. But the asparagus bed is looking fantastic. We'll start harvesting next year. And this will, it gets really nice fall color. So it goes like really nice gold color. And it looks like the strawberries are coloring up too. We haven't gotten too many off of them, but it's only been like the first year. So we planted these last year, but there's a bunch of babies and each of those will have a bunch of fruit next year. So it should get nice and full. The apple season has been phenomenal. These ones here and these ones here, which have mostly fallen on the ground now, they're some of the best eating apples. But I also made a huge batch of apple cider, which was like my third or fourth of the season, and I've been freezing it. So we should have lots for winter, which will be nice. The raspberries looking good too. But yeah, we've had, like, it's just been like a wild season for apples, pears, like all that kind of stuff has just done so well. And it's like to the point where there's so much that like we had to stop giving it to the chickens even because we were like, oh, it might be too much of like the fruit for them versus like everything else. We call this the Roundabout Garden. I did a tour of it, I don't know, maybe a month or a month and a half ago. But I've recently been working on this edge here, so I've been cutting kind of thick logs, laying down pizza boxes that we've been saving for a while, just to like stop the weeds and just trying to make like a hard edge. Because then once the grass regrows in front, it'll be pretty easy to just like trim it off. Kind of going for like kind of a cottagey wildlife look. Oh, it's lost most of its leaves now, but that's like a little like garden obelisk that I made with our native red stick dogwood. I did it last like March or something. This looks good all season. And I thought that that was like a good spot for it. Anyway, since I toured here recently, I won't go all the way through, but yeah, just to show you the mulching job. I used the kind of raw or bigger mulch, coarser mulch for the pathways, and then the more kind of fine stuff that breaks down a little faster for the actual beds. We'll go and say a quick hello to the ladies. Let's see if we can get them to do some tricks. That's Laurel. She's always game for tricks. Who's gonna come up here? Way to go! Sharing the bounty. Where are you gonna go, Laurel? Is she gonna go back or down? Just like I missed a few. I made this little side door for them recently just because we were, like the main access was the front door here, which is like the whole length of the coop. But with the rains and stuff, I thought I didn't want the interior to get too wet. But let's have a look. I haven't gotten the eggs yet. Oh. Still warm. And somebody owes us one more. They've been pretty consistent at doing one each a day, and there's 4 of them. Thanks, ladies. So I'm heading back up towards the house, and I wanted to show you just last couple of areas. Oh yeah, this is the new clothesline we recently put up. We had some like dead cedar trees, so we thought we'd just use those. So over here we had these giant Leyland cypress trees that somebody had planted, I think, to make a hedge, but then never trimmed them. So it was like 4 really close together trees, and they were just like growing out everywhere and blocking the light to the house and stuff. So we cut those down, and I wanted to make kind of like a mixed hedge of like deciduous and evergreen trees and other like shrubs and stuff. So it's still like, I did this spring, so it's still very new, but you can kind of see where the bones are starting to come together a little bit. I have a couple native trees too. This one here is a surface berry, Melanchier alnifolia, and then behind is our native arbutus tree. I also have this clump of dahlias. This was like a Costco multi-pack, but there were some really pretty ones. Like this is like huge and beautiful. I know Lewis likes this one down here. These are all just like doing their thing. So the color scheme that I'm working on for flowers for in here is kind of like pinks, peaches, salmon, some like oranges, and then like ice blue. And then, yeah, cool foliage. This is our native Oregon grape. There's a few of them here. So these bloom in early spring. The hummingbirds really like them. And I've also planted, yeah, just like a bunch of other hummingbird plants here. We have like a good view from like our bedroom. It kind of looks out this way. So it's the things that I like to look at in the morning. And then on this side, we have the anniversary garden. So we also worked on that this year. This used to be just like lawn all the way up to the trellis. Planted a bunch of cool things. a bunch of annuals too, but most of them have gone over now. There's a few artichokes. These are the like cardoon ones, so like ornamental ones. They didn't bloom for us this year, but hopefully they'll make it through the winter and then bloom next year. The osteospermum, the like Cape daisies, have been amazing. They've been blooming all season. Classic, the Dusty Miller. I grew a whole tray of it from seed, so I've just been putting it everywhere. These are native woolly sunflowers, and I've done a few from seed, and then I just keep dividing them because they grow so quickly. But they bloom kind of May to July with like pale yellow. Woods blue asters. These should get better and better every year. So this is all kind of pale purples and pale yellows. The first flush of these Rudbeckias has gone over, and then there's some like smaller flowers coming up now, which are pretty cute. Yeah, lots of bulbs that I've ordered that I want to plant in here too, so it should be like a nice long season. We started around our anniversary, hence the name, but I don't really have anything that will be blooming in March, so yeah, we've ordered a bunch of daffodils and other early spring bulbs. This rose that I've been training up against the wall, it's looking nice and spread out, which I like. And I have hooks like all the way to there, so it's like 3 full panels. So it should get nice and wide. And just the difference this year versus last year, it was just like a few like straight up little spikes with flowers at the top that went over kind of quickly, and then that was it. And then this year it's been blooming all season. This is the ultimate hydrangea. This is my favorite color-wise and structure-wise. So I want to see, I might try to propagate it. I've also kind of been tree training it a little bit. So there's 3 kind of main branches that come out from up here. So I was going to see, maybe I'll cut those back and get it bushier and then propagate the lower guys. I planted this little golden Leyland cypress here, kind of with the idea to like trim it and make it look like a big kind of flame shape. I thought that would be kind of cool. And then things are getting a little bit quiet around here. I had to use some like fencing because I did a Chelsea chop on these asters, but they still like flopped big time. But I don't know, I think it looks kind of cute. I might try to do it earlier next year so that it grows through it and then kind of has like a cool shape. This rose here smells like amazing. It went through kind of like a lull for most of September after blooming earlier in this season, and now it's reflushing, so it's a nice late season treat. A few more arrangements and stuff here. Oh, Kazi. I feel like this is my cue for the end of the tour. Guys, let's go this way. Okay, last one is up here. I just like this little collection. You ready? Well, thanks for coming for a little impromptu garden tour. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time.